So, hello everyone, and welcome to our third edition of Black History Month. I'm Benedicta Junpa, and I'm Student Life Coordinator here at Temple Rome. So, I want to welcome our people online. We have people tuning in from the United States and also here in Italy as well. So, we want to welcome you. I'm Student Life Coordinator, and I coordinate also the initiatives for Black History Month together with my colleagues. And the theme for this year, Black History Month, is constant flow, as it refers to Black history being always in the making. So just like a river that's always flowing and shaping its surrounding. Tonight's event theme is tonight's event title is Beyond Moral Support: Black Businesses in Italy and Africa. This actually inspired the theme for Black History Month this year. How is it so? Well, when we think about Black history and anti-racism, there is a general understanding that, at least we hope, that there is a moral understanding. But how does this translate in our action, especially when it comes to where our money flows? So tonight, I have as guest Henry Emehel. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for
You're welcome. He's the CEO of the Restaurant Afrish and many other businesses activities here in Rome, and is also regarding Afrobeats music and event. And we also have today Meret Walde, that she's the CEO of the Forum of the Italian Africa Business Week. And also, she's been one of the pioneers of the Ottobre Africano here in Rome. So, thank you. Welcome to Temple Rome, and thank you so much for being here, especially on this night, like Valentine's Day. So, so thank you so much for being here, and thank you for our guests to be here. So, let's start with a few questions as well, and let's get into this discussion. Can you please both share with me a bit of yourselves and how did you create your business, Henry, and narrate also the forum of Italian African Business Week? What was the vision behind both these ideas? Who wants to go first?
First of all, thank you so much for the opportunity for the platform and get to us to express about our business as well. And I have to congratulate you on this very beautiful thing you guys are doing. So business. How do I create it? I mean, it's just actually it's so funny because some couple of years back before the pandemic, I've been bringing so many musicians into the country. So what's the thing like all the time? Like, oh, people from class, you don't work with them in African West. And so finally, thinking about it, I was not even ready for it. So as in 2021, I just got an opportunity at the place. So I didn't want to opportunity, then I grabbed it without a business plan actually. Without a zero business plan in it. I grabbed the opportunity that I worked on it. It was something challenging, but yeah. So take it up from there as well.
Thank you so much for sharing this. I think it's important, right, to take opportunities at this when we see those opportunities. I think that's a great idea because traditionally we would think when it comes to business, we would think that, oh, we always need the business plan before we start. What about you, Mary? How did the Italian African Business Forum start?
Okay, thank you very much. Congratulations for the initiative. I'm very happy to see that year by year we see a lot of initiative on Africa, on the term of cultural and political. And as you mentioned, October Africano, which is a festival run by Le Réseau. During the year, we realized that the vision and the way that Italy looks to Africa and Africans, and also Africans look to Italy was based on the stereotypes. And we realized that There was a lack of a space where both sides of the Mediterranean can meet together in order to foster the relationship in terms of economic and trade. And we decided to create this space. And this is the how we start thinking on creating an Italia Africa Business Week. And we did with a kind of prototype inside the October Africano on because you know, if we look at the Italian market and the structure of the economic farm of Italy and the one on the African realities, they are very similar. Are based on the SME. Most of the time family-based, highly scalable. And but on the other hand, if you look, Italy is not very known and well known in Africa as a industrialized country. So we, as an African Italian, we ask ourselves how we can reduce this gap and create a space where we can play a role to create opportunity in here for the youth, but also for our country of origin. That's why we decided to create this space, and we are happy because we had the last November the 5th edition, and it was something that we hope can grow and
Yeah, that's great. That's
create opportunities for all of us.
I love to see like the different like the vision that you had and how you made them happen and how you build connection with different people, like if you're artists coming from Africa continent, coming to Rome, playing concerts, and let it be also when it comes to connecting the different like relationships between like going beyond stereotypes, which is also one of the reasons we are Black History Month, to break down those stereotypes. So what role does your business or the forum play between the African diaspora in Rome, in Italy, and also between Africa as well?
You're asking me to talk about ourselves because
Yeah.
we are the diaspora.
Yeah.
And you know, I think one of the challenge of Italia Africa Business Week, it's the fact that it's a diaspora, African diaspora initiative.
Okay.
And for us, diaspora, it's we create Italia Africa Business Week also to give value to the diaspora. And as you said before, bringing artists from Africa over entrepreneurs, it's also a way of changing the narrative of African Africans. For us, the diaspora is a key player on the dynamic between Italy and our country of origin. It's, I can say that it's a natural link. And for that reason, within the space of Italia African Business, we give space and visibility to the African diaspora member in terms of for the youth, but also for the entrepreneurs, and also on the B2B that we renamed the B3B because we try to put between the two stakeholders, the diaspora, because having the knowledge on both culture give you the opportunity to read immediately the needs and to match immediately the needs of ones with the opportunity that the other. So it's make easy. It's a kind of facilitator, not only the intermediate. It's a really facilitator that can, and also knowing that we, as a diaspora, we also have. We are fully aware of what are the needs and how to implement things in our country with the region. And we know also how is the added value that the Italian entrepreneurs or the Italian system can give. So it's an exchange. It's an exchange, and it's also a way of doing they change the narrative by doing, no?
Okay.
It's because we show what we are able to do and how it's our value and how also Italian system, but the African system also can um, use the diaspora to make things moving forward.
Absolutely, thank you. Eric, what about your business? What role does it play? We're talking about doing, so we see your business, we see different activities. So what's the role between like Italy, Rome, and also the continent of Africa?
Yeah, actually, I mean, it's a very important question, like you mentioned earlier, like it's not just about speaking as well. It's all about when different cultures get together. Because in Africa, we all have different cultures, so different, so we in the business we're doing as well, it gets them together. It gets them together. It's not just a place where you can go and dine. It's also a place where all of us can sit down, exchange cultures, exchange languages as well, Italians as well. Because it's not just us as well, because I bet when they come in there, they always want like try what they have not tried before through food. The same thing happens as well into like events as well. It gathers people together. It unites the world actually, not just Italian and Africans. So through events, we capture those things we needed as well, getting the world together, um, uniting the world actually through music as well is one of the most important thing about this smart business. It's not just the economical side of the business as well. You also have to look the hand, what comes out from it as well. So the restaurant actually, I didn't even know actually that we are going to start this. It was just a beautiful thing about getting people together. It's always been my policy, whatever I do. So I love to get people together. If you're around my circle, before 1 year goes off, you're gonna like expand. Before you're gonna know, you're gonna meet a lot of people. You're gonna start, experiencing cultures as well through different sections as well. So I think it's one of the most important things as well. I really love the question as well. So thank you so much for the opportunity as well.
No worries, thank you. I like how both you talk about like bringing cultures together and building connection. Because sometimes people, if you still question like why there is a Black History Month, why there is this, but actually it's important because oftentimes people don't know the culture of the continent and the continent of origin. So I think it's important both what you shared about like bringing people together despite the differences. So can you please share with me which challenges have you faced with your business and with the forum? And which challenges have you faced? And probably I'll also ask you like, how you overcame them as well? Yeah. Who wants to start? It's like a difficult question.
Well, as I mentioned before, one of the challenges us running an event and creating a platform like Italia Africa Business, because as you know, in Italy, the African diaspora is unseen. So the challenge was in terms of reliability, which means also difficulties on getting sponsorship and managing, but also talking in Africa about Italy as a reliable partner, and to show that Italian products are seen non-competitive in terms of prices, but try to show that given the quality, value to the quality, you can gain also in terms of competitiveness. And the biggest challenge is talking about Africa. We are talking about a continent, the biggest area with the cultural, financial, and economic and social also biodiversity. So trying to deal with so many diversity is not an easy. But I think it's considering that our main goal was also to change the narrative on Africa and Africans, so bringing the other side of the moon from Africa and Italy and Europe, because these are before the culture, but if you look, talking about Africa, not only in Italy, but in most of the Western country, it's uncultural. We don't have any. It's like we came out from I don't know what, without anything to give while we make history.
Yeah.
But we don't have story. So, and this was the first challenge. And the other key point for us was also to show to the Afro-Italian, the new generation, that it's possible here to do something different from what the system wants them to do. How we manage, first of all, because we are crazy people. First, I think I have to be honest. In 2017, when we ran Italia Africa Business, if we had to use the rational side of our mind, we had to stop because it was impossible to run. But on the other hand, we were aware that if we stopped believing that it was possible, it was I think we have consolidated the problem. So we decided to run, and it was very successful. And it was surprising for all of us, including the Italian system, from the politicians, all the stakeholders, because nobody believed that it was possible in Italy to talk about business on Africa with Africans. We used to talk about Africa in terms of aid. Italy, it's well known in terms of cooperation, but only in terms of aid, but not business. It was the click, the change of mind. It's not easy also to say, but something it's changed.
That's great. Thank you so much. What about you, Erin? You are business, so what were your challenges and how you overcame them?
Well, I mean, it's a little bit tough. I mean, it's an interesting question as well. I have to get you back to related to the first question you asked me as well, whereby when you set a goal without a plan, actually a proper years of a business plan, or when you don't have all those things, at a point, it has to show physically as well during the business while you're bringing it up. So this is actually one of the main challenges. Normally when you want to do something, when you get a business plan, you don't know how many people you needed, actually in the beginning as well to bring the business to keep it on a steady road as well. But actually, unfortunately, like, okay, we started without that, then we're facing that challenges as well. We faced it as well in the beginning, with no experience as well, but we being in there physically, learning in the same process as well, making the business, learning at the same time makes it a little bit difficult, but thank God as well, we're a little bit strong and we kept the business going and kept it going. We didn't like kind of give up. But now I think it's a little bit like stable, and it is actually still actually not easy as well to get everyone to know about that. You still have to bring people as well into the business as well to tell them about you. You have to convince them as well when they come. You have to be very careful. Like, I mean, they have to know what you're giving to them as well, because most of the time we were asked to clients to just come and like ask us like, can you surprise us? tell us what to eat or something. So many of them doesn't like, for example, have to go into this, they don't like spicy or so. And so we have to manage that situation, which is very complicated as well. Somebody who normally have this kind of stuff and comes here and sees something completely different from what they're used to as well. So all these things as well, like it's kind of some things we have to learn at the spot. We didn't like practice this before we kind of jumped into the business and started managing those challenges. But I don't want to like mention the challenges of the COVID-19, but I mean, there's everyone knows that is also a challenge as well we're facing, but gradually we're kind of like getting it done as well in proper lineage as well. So yeah, so like the challenges as well.
May I add
Oh,
something?
yeah, sure. Yes,
Because,
go ahead.
You talk about the challenges of COVID. For us, COVID-19, it was an opportunity to show that Africa is not so behind technology, because in 2020, we run the Italia Africa Business recently, fully on web,
Yeah.
and we had a lot of participants from Africa.
Yeah.
And in most of the cases, the connection from Africa was more stable than here.
Oh, wow.
And, and also showing, and some people from Italian diaspora, center, show us how the way that the government managed the technicality linked to COVID-19, in some countries were ahead on Italy.
Yeah.
So it's a way to show that it's not so undeveloped country in terms of technology. Of course, this doesn't mean that we have to hide all the lacks or problems that we have in our continent, but it's I think it's time, and we have more instruments to show that it's not the gap; it's more reduced.
That's great. Thank you so much. Yeah, I was thinking about you were talking about the odds and the importance of challenging that. I think I also got taught, and later I want to come back with another question about the odds and the importance of challenging the narrative and show the ability to overcome the odds. So let's go to the question that I actually had planned, which is this year's theme is constant flow, as I earlier mentioned. So which reference to the importance of Black history to always like flow, just like a river. So why the important that we have to ensure there is cash flow in Black and support for Black businesses? Like, why do you think it's important that the cash flows also impact Black African businesses?
Well, the reason is, you know, if you want to be really free, you have to be able to feed in yourself in terms of not only body, but also mind and soul. And you need also financial side. So supporting, it's a kind of self-empowerment. And supporting African business or doing something that can help on developing and creating business that creates, make an added value in contributing. It's also of a way of creating and sustaining the democracy. Democracy meaning make everybody in a position to choose for their own life.
Yeah.
If you are not able to feed yourself, you can't even think what it's and look what is going around. So supporting and creating an ethical cash flow, it's also a way of rebalancing, rebalancing, because we all know that the African problem is not the resources. We have resources, it's the way of how we use and redistribute the resources. In this sense, the role of diaspora is very, very important, because we, being here, we know that there are some instruments and we can create also or push to have a policy that help on gaining this kind of freedom. Money, it's we can't say that it's not important. Today we need money to guarantee the right.
Yes, that's absolutely. What about you, Eric? So, like, why is it important, for example, to support businesses like yours? Like, why is it important, especially regarding Black businesses?
Yeah, I think definitely it's very, very important as well. The economical side of the business is very important as well. Like I said, like she mentioned earlier, like it's not just about having the cash flowing, it's all about how do you manage them as well. You know, because I think the cash flow depends on the management as well. Because if you settle it properly, I think it's going to return back, let me say, properly as well. So I think that is one of the most important things in money is the management of the cash as well. It's not just when somebody or when you have a fund, or you can even get cashes as well from the banks or from everywhere, or even support, or everyone in this room can as well come and keep supporting me. But if you don't have that impact, that thing in you that's going to manage it properly, and I think that's one of the most important thing, you know. But when you manage it properly, then I think the cash flow we're talking about is going to now make sense as well. You know, this is how I see it in this operation. But thank you so much.
Yeah,
Can
thank you.
I ask a question?
Oh, yeah,
You-
sure, go
Do
ahead.
you have advice on how to manage it properly? The cash flow and I guess just businesses in general, especially, you know, if you're from an underrepresented background in a country and a culture like Italy.
Oh, you mean an advice? Or I don't know.
Like, could you expand more upon the management of cash flow and like any advice you might have on how to do that effectively?
So yeah, I mean, it comes back to the very first thing I said here, the business plan. So it all lies on the plan, initial plan. So that's why we faced some challenges, because we made some steps ahead. You know, we jumped over so many things, and at the point we really have to go back. Or the business is already flowing. In the same process, we really have to go back and fill in those spaces as well, you know, and get them right, and we continue as well. You know, normally, I mean, you should fill in the gap properly before you join the business. So all the steps, when you're climbing the steps, you get to number one, then you know what you expect in over number one. Climbing number two, number three, you expect all those things, but we actually jumped. You know, so I'm just talking from my experience from the business. Yeah, because we have so many other experiences from what we do as well, from other businesses as well, but from this restaurant as well, we really have to go back, fill in some gaps that we jumped in the beginning. You know, so that was why it's very important to have some know properly about what you're going through, what you have to be putting yourself into, and you set the plans and like manage it with like how many workers are you going to place in order, or how many actually the things you need to order, materials to sustain the business to keep it going, to know the quantity you have to get at the time as well, to manage the staffs as well, to manage everything about it, to manage the rents as well. All these things are timing, you know, to know exactly what time to pay the workers as well, to know exactly if you have to pay them the same time with the rent as well, you know, so all these things are management as well, I think I am talking about as well. Yeah. Thank you so much.
That's great. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for your question. I was actually about to ask this question. So like,
Sorry.
no, don't worry. I think that's very insightful, and I would have probably asked the same question. So we still have a few minutes. Actually, I have a question that came to my mind while you were talking, especially you were talking about the ethical side of business. So what do we mean? What do you mean by that? And probably also Karen as well, like you are running a business, like you also have to think about the ethics. You were talking about paying the workers and other things. So how do you make sure that you ensure the ethics between the business, where your business is?
It's very, well, in our reality, as you know, being a kind of NGOs, not probably it's the ethical. It's first of all on the way that we deal with people,
Yeah.
how we deal also with the environment, and how we use the resources, and making sure also to select partners based also on the value, sharing the value, and putting the people first. So it's you know, ethics. It's something that it's could be different based on culture.
Yeah.
Respecting the cultural value, it's another ethical thing. Starting, we never start saying that we are at the right position. We have the truth. Looking to the other with the openness, and also with the caring. Because this is the difference. It's it doesn't matter which is the position that you and the role that you have inside the business. The important is to start thinking that you are dealing with the
like equal sort of
the
thing.
equal, and asking always also which is the impact. If what we are doing it's really make difference and make easier the life of the people. So not only trying to bring money, but I don't know if you know Olive Fruit.
Oh yeah,
It's
the company.
No, but also the Adriano Olivetti, he was an entrepreneur in Italy.
Okay.
He was had a philosophy that it's putting the center of the life of the human being, and taking in consideration and take care of all that affect the people. And this must be the sense of the life of in our daily action. So it's not. It doesn't matter if you are able to deal in a daily action in life with the ethic, with the right value, which it means you're right value, because it's could be different. This is for me, it's the ethic. So considering also that your action could cause also problem. So be conscious and aware, fully aware of how could be the real result and the impact of your action.
What about your business? How do you navigate the ethic aspect of it?
Oh, I mean, it's a tough question as well. I think first of all, like integration as well is very, very, very important. So I think when you get to a country like a country, one of the most important things as well is integration. When you have that, I think it finds so many things easier as well to be able to run. So without that, it's going to be difficult because in your restaurant, in my restaurant, in your activities, different people are saying into that sport as well. So I think if we can be able to, the more we integrate is the more it's better for the business. Even language can as well, even language as well is very, very important as well to avoid a lot of things. So I think integration lies on top of the ethic as well.
Absolutely, that's important. I think especially looking at coming with different cultures, different backgrounds, and being in different continents, we have to definitely integrate various parts. So,
I prefer to talk about interaction instead of integration, because integration means that someone give you the right to come. Well, interaction, it's we meet. So
Okay.
we all make steps to go to the other. While integration, it's I'm inside and I let you come in. So also in this sense, I think we have
Exactly, yeah,
to
it helps the business as well too. As well. I
exactly.
think so.
And the food sector, it's very important because we sometimes we put on the program of the orthographic and also food because it's in terms of culture, it's a way that give you the idea in it's a picture of how people deal with the other cultures, how you are open and ready to meet others. It's very important because knowing that here in Italy and as Italian we are really what I can say not sensitive. It's the food for us. It's very important.
yeah, we're very proud of it.
Not only proud, but also it's something that we think that it's on the top of everything. So it's but giving the people the opportunity to sit around the table make things easier because food is a culture. So showing, and I think it's something that we have to add on the education side because talking about food, it's talking about culture, story, family story, and also country. So it's a way of giving also to the kids an opportunity to show that they have something behind.
Yeah, like especially
With very small things and something that they can touch and smell, and it's something that
what's the connection. Absolutely. So I want to ask the people online. Are there questions?
Yeah, there's a question. How do you both approach hiring in your business, and is it important that the people that you hire reflect your morals and values and also your businesses and how you envisioned your business to be?
Hiring. So,
Well, I think it's very important because the people you hire as well is part of the business as well because they are the face of your business. They have like in your absence as well, if I should say that as well. Because if I think if the way they handle it, helps the business as well to grow more, knowing how to approach the customers, like customer service for us is very, very important as well. We're actually still learning on it, trying to improve every day as well, concerning this question as well. So I think it's very, very important, like when you're about to hire people, you have to be very careful and it's a very delicate side of the business as well because it depends, like for example, the chef as well, or the waitresses as well, everybody in the business is very important. They play a very big role in the business as well. So the customer service is what we actually, for me personally, that's what I look at as well. I look first of all the customer service, so that's what I think about as well. Yeah.
But in our case, it's really depends on the type of projects because Italia Africa Business is one of the projects that we run. We have several other activities, and we work a lot with the universities, and we try to balance in terms of gender and also cultural, and so we try to hire both new generation, Afro-Italian generation, but also a diaspora, because consider that we work on the two sides of the continent. We try to find a balance between the resources and the human resources, and because we need also someone that it's really connected to the country. While if you look at the new generation, sometimes they are not. Honestly, they know very well the history, and they are able to deal with the people coming from the country, but they don't have the connection, the real connection that could have the business and could interact with the businessmen and women in the country.
Do we have more questions?
No, however, I have another question.
Go ahead.
Would you guys be able to talk more in depth about how you balance, I guess, expressing African culture, but also while in Italy? So like Henry, you were mentioning with food, like maybe people aren't as used to spicy food. So can you talk about maybe your journey with that balance and how you have, I guess, adjusted to different like needs of the Italian culture specifically?
Yeah, I think it's very important that you have to initiate the initiative as well. It's one of the most important thing, where you initiate, you sell your product as well to somebody who doesn't know anything about that product. I think is one of the most important thing in that business is how do you initiate it to the person as well, so it is very important to initiate those things, so I think to balance it as well is not, it's very difficult, because you find yourself in the middle of like somebody who doesn't know about the food, and so people who actually knows the food. It's very easy as well to talk to those ones who knows the food. Sometimes they don't even look at the menu as well. They go straight up to give us this, we want to eat this as well. So for example, when you come to fufu as well, an Italian, for example, that comes in there, and of course, so there's a lot of curiosity as well. What's this? What is that? Then you have to come and explain it to them, and they like that part of the culture whereby you tell them, oh, this one here, right here, to eat with your hands. You have to wash your hands. You have to eat with your hands as well. It's this, it's that. So it excites them as well. So I think it's not just the taste of the food in that period. I think the excitement to being, they find themselves in Africa, in Italy, in your restaurant. When they are there, the atmosphere we always love to create is whenever they come in, you make them feel like they are in Africa, in Italy. Do you know what I mean? So through those little minutes, that hour they're gonna be there as well is just try to create that African or the atmosphere in there as well. It helps them as well to balance and feel like comfortable, and safe and like join into the culture as well.
Absolutely.
Well, if I have to speak personally, it's me. I'm both. I grew up here because I was 13 when I came from Asmara, and I can use in my country, talking about two countries, Talking about business, of course, it's completely different in Italia Africa Business Week. First of all, because also within the Africa, we are stranger, because if I meet Eritrean, I'm at home, but with the others, I'm like, and regarding Italy, it's, as you said, it's a curiosity, but not in the sense of culture, but they are surprised to see us in a different context.
Mm.
The surprise that it's not based on the culture or other, but to see a diaspora running something that they didn't expect from the diaspora.
Mm.
This is not really on the culture or other, but it's on the way of looking, which is what we need.
Yeah.
We want they start looking at us is for what we are. It's not something. And this is the way that we strongly believe that we can change things doing from people that we are able to create spaces, but also to get into spaces without an invitation.
Yeah.
It's a matter of winning.
One more question in the chat.
Just to comment that
Okay.
Melissa would like to eat at your restaurant.
Yeah. Is she
Oh.
wrong?
No, but she will be.
She will be?
We'll
Okay.
go.
Melissa, when you come, you definitely go to the
I have to
restaurant.
go because I the restaurant was not
Okay.
Yeah.
You had it welcome, like I have so.
Social.
Said we calling you. So, like I told you earlier, like my impacted you.
Yeah.
We are like,
We would definitely
like,
come.
especially try, and of course, I'm extending the invitation as well to you. On your free time, you can come down, and we'll be so happy to welcome you as well.
Yeah.
So, if I have the opportunity, I will introduce her work. She's on staff as well. She works with us as well. And in the restaurant as well too. So, we are looking forward to welcome you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Something, I think considering the different culture, it's a matter also of being able to create inside yourself the respect of both.
Yeah.
Yourself,
Yeah.
to recognize both culture and
Yeah.
to respect. In order to, if you are able to do this, it's something that comes automatically. It's a shift that it's something that can natural,
Yeah.
because you don't have a problem on being in one leg or on the other, but you are. It's a matter of being yourself
Yeah.
with both your culture.
Yeah. And I think that probably we conclude on this note, depending on whether people have questions or not. But I think what you said is very important about finding a balance between yourself. And I think the forum and the restaurant can help to do so. Because I think the challenge for me, for myself, being born here and raised here, I think the difficulty has always been not seeing like a restaurant where I can go to like that. So not seeing that, that can make you like conceal that side and maybe put it on the side because people sometimes when you introduce themselves, they're not always ready to meet the food, and especially when you're younger. Now people are receiving a little bit more differently.
Yes.
But the fact of staying spaces and staying like physically outside of your home and seeing those celebrated outside of a party. For example, the other day we were at your restaurant and one of my friends said, oh yeah, like actually like you never get this atmosphere outside of your house or outside of a church meeting. You don't get it. Like the Roman Pentecostal churches, like in Italy, like African churches, you will get like African food. But outside of that, you don't really get to experience that. And the fact that you can go in physical spaces like the forum and like the restaurant, that helps people to build the confidence I think, in embracing their identity and embracing their culture and celebrate that and share that with others. Like I
The
think
power
that,
of being represented.
Yeah.
yes,
We're represented,
yes,
which we don't have. The problem is that
we are to
if you look, we don't have. We are a much part of reality, but if you look the economical system, we don't have this.
Yeah. It goes back to what we were talking about in the first event, talking about representation, about the need of
yeah.
representation in
Changing
Italy,
narratives.
because there are maybe different extremes of representation in Italy, but not in the economic system. It's nice to.
The extreme, no, I think we have only one slide. We forgot all people like Benedicto, me, like that, but we are here. And the difference, I think the difference between my generation and yours, it's because during my teenage, we had the opportunity to see on the television people like us, Africans, as a journalist.
Yeah.
So for us, it was a strong message in terms of possibility. And I think that it makes a big difference also on how we, not only in terms of reaction, but how we was able to balance our relation between and to work on our both culture and to deal with the Italians.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I guess we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah,
Do we
no
have
more
any
questions?
more questions? No more questions? Okay, thank you so much for each person that's connected, especially I know people from the States are connected, people all over Italy. So we're really appreciative of that. This event will be made available with the recording online. And please don't forget to check the link references for the Italian Afro Business Week Forum. And also don't forget to go and support the Restaurant Afrish if you're really in Rome. Please do come and support. Thank you so much. Thank you, Emily, for helping with the chat and the graphic and the website, the registration, share the person behind it. Thank you, Joy, for being here. And thank you to each one of you. Thank you to our guests that have made the time to come. And thank you to Stanford University for us. Have a great evening and day. Bye.